Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
A reason to think twice. Michigan has a new law cracking down on porch pirates.
Months after this toddler was found dead of fentanyl intoxication, someone is being held responsible.
A former UAW leader pleads guilty to corruption charges and comes face to face with one of the workers from whom he allegedly stole. Good to have you with us for Local 4 News at 6. The long-running federal probe into UAW leadership corruption snared its biggest player today. Former
UAW GM Vice President Joe Ashton appeared before a federal judge to plead guilty to crimes that could have netted him 20 years in prison.
Business editor Rod Maloney was in court for the proceedings. Rod?
You know, he's not going to spend 20 years in prison. Joe Ashton's more likely to get about 36 months in prison because he agreed to a plea bargain today. But you were discussing that employee of his. She wore a UAW jacket into the courtroom today. She was very angry, and we're going to hear from her in just a second. But in the meantime, let's take a look at how Joe Ashton got here. This video from the summer of 2011 gives us the players in this corruption drama all in one place. At the front of the line, then UAW Vice President Joe Ashton. Then right behind him in line, his right hand, Michael Grimes. And behind him, Jeff Peterzik. Now all three have pled guilty in this multi-million-dollar UAW embezzlement scheme. It was Ashton's turn today. The now retired and former GM board member took a plea deal where he admitted to fraud and money laundering having to do with a custom UAW watch contract where he took $250,000 in kickbacks. The feds say he hatched the scheme, had Grimes and Peterzik, known as Paycheck because of the tough-to-pronounce last name, were the bagmen. Ashton only took a small amount, $250,000, the feds say, compared to Grimes, who they say took $2 million and retired to a Florida mansion. This entire scam angered Cindy Sumnick, who worked for Ashton at the International GM UAW department.
I wanted him to know that he is a disappointment to all these members that are on this line working, that he let. I'm from General Motors. I had 43 years as a UAW member in General Motors. He let UAW GM workers down.
She believes this trio and others did significant damage to the union.
They stole from the workers on the floor. That was their money. He lined his pockets because of his power.
Now, let's hear from the UAW on this, the current regime. The Grimes make that the crimes that Joe Ashton has pled guilty to are against everything we stand for as a union, demonstrate his self-interest, and signify his lack of respect for the oath he took to protect the sacred dues money of our UAW brothers and sisters. And the union, under new president Rory Gamble, or at least interim president Rory Gamble, are saying that they're going to do everything they can to prevent this kind of thing happening in the future. Back to you.
Well, Rod, did Ashton have anything to say?
He didn't speak specifically, but his attorney did tell reporters after the hearing that Joe Ashton is sorry for what he did and will have a more lengthy explanation of what it is that he did and why coming up at his sentencing in March of 2020.
Okay, Rod. Meanwhile, after the meeting at the RenCen, the National UAW-FCA Council votes to adopt the proposed tentative agreement between the union and Fiat Chrysler. So now local unions will hold their meetings to go over the details of the agreement. They will start voting on that agreement this Friday. Tentative agreement follows the pattern set by GM and then Ford. It includes a $9,000 signing bonus, higher profit sharing, and it also creates almost 8,000 new jobs.
Detroit police and the Michigan Humane Society raiding 2 homes on the city's east side in a suspected dogfighting operation. The raid taking place earlier this afternoon on England Street. Police receiving several tips into what was taking place inside the 2 homes. Officials found multiple dogs inside and outside both those homes.
So we're going to have multiple amount of dogs, generally chained up in the backyard, large tow chains, specific size dogs, specific breed of dog as well. Additionally, there's going to be other types of evidence as far as working those dogs to get them conditioned to fight.
Investigators say the homeowners were not there during the raid, but they have a good idea on who's responsible.
Michigan has a new law on the books that aims to stop porch pirates from stealing your stuff. The idea is simple: to make thieves like the ones we're constantly seeing on the doorbell cameras think twice. Coco McAvoy tells us more about the law and how it can help law enforcement.
It's that time of year where we start hearing about thieves taking packages right from people's front porches. But now there's a new law that's going to get some of these criminals in big trouble. In broad daylight, two thieves take packages right off of a front porch before running off. This brazen robbery happened on Piedmont Street in Detroit, but as Lieutenant Mario Bastianelli says, porch pirates are everywhere.
It's a crime of opportunity, right? And possibly a minimum chance of getting caught. Now, if you get caught, you're going to pay the price.
Because legislators approved a new bill that makes it a state-level crime to steal mail, including packages left on doorsteps. The first time someone is caught, they could spend a year in jail. But the second time, it's a felony.
Yeah, I think it's great to have stiffer penalties for these people that commit these crimes.
Don Kafuk lives in Sterling Heights and agrees.
Well, I think there's got to be some meat behind some law that inhibits people from, even thinking about doing that. But the people stealing them are the problem. Even if it's made easier, it's really their fault.
And it's difficult to prevent it, but there are some ways to make it a little tougher for the thieves.
Thank God for surveillance cameras, the Ring doorbell. These type of things catch these criminals in the act of it, and it also assists us in our investigation.
The new legislation aims to make thieves think twice before stealing packages around the holidays, or really any time of year. I'm Coco McAvoy, Local 4.
All right, Coco. Well, we saw snow flurries there again. They've been flying a lot today, but they were all around Rod Maloney there a few minutes ago.
I guess it just depends on where you are. Let's get over to Ben Bailey to see how the rest of the night is shaping up.
Yeah, Kevin and Devin, we're seeing those spread across most of the area right now, but for the most part, they're just going to start to show up in your headlights as you drive down the road. Most of these are flurries, light snow showers. Hardly any of this is accumulating. A couple spots where the visibility is starting to get close to 2 miles or a little bit below, and that's in Oakland County. So very minor pockets where this may put down a dusting, but it's not going to last very long. Models have been underestimating the amount of snow, but it does start to wrap this up by about midnight tonight, and then we should be dry going into tomorrow morning's commute. As far as temperatures go, tomorrow morning, 27, but the wind chills will be in the teens. We'll look at that in your 4-zone forecast, plus one more chance of snow before we get some warmer temperatures. And don't forget to download our local forecasters app. You can track tonight's snow and the warmer temperatures on their way as well, guys.
And now to the many showing up to pay their respects to DPD officer Rasheen McClain. Public visitations being held today and tomorrow for the fallen officer. McClain was shot and killed back in November while responding to a home invasion call on Detroit's west side. The funeral services for the officer are going to be held this Friday, where Police Chief James Craig will posthumously promote McClain to the rank of sergeant.
The House Judiciary Committee holding its first public hearings into the impeachment of President Trump. 4 constitutional scholars appearing in the front of the committee explaining, quote, high crimes and misdemeanors laid out in the Constitution. 3 of the 4 scholars believe there is evidence of a crime, while the 4th says the evidence is not strong enough.
When President Trump invited, indeed demanded, foreign involvement in our upcoming election, he struck at the very heart of what makes this a republic to which we pledge allegiance.
If what we're talking about is not impeachable, then nothing is impeachable. Close enough is not good enough. If you're going to accuse a president of bribery, you need to make it stick.
Following the hearings, the committee will decide on drawing up formal articles of impeachment against the president.
The FBI releases a sketch of a woman they're looking to identify and talk with for an investigation. They are calling this woman Jane Doe 37. The FBI says they want to talk to her about a child exploitation investigation, and she may know who a missing child is. The FBI says evidence connects this woman to their investigation. They ask anyone who might recognize the woman from the picture or know anything about the case to contact them, or you can also submit a tip to them online.
We have a Local 4 News update in the tragic death of a Port Huron child. Tonight, a 27-year-old man is charged with manslaughter. In August, a 14-month-old little girl died after playing at that man's home. Today, DeMonte Rice is charged. Witnesses say the girl ate drugs Rice had at his home because it was wrapped in candy wrappers. Police say inside the wrapper was fentanyl. Rice was given a $500,000 bond. He'll be back in court in about 2 weeks. Updating a story we first brought you late last month, a Detroit man is indicted by the feds on child pornography charges. Wade Streeter, the owner of Open Lake Group Tugboat Service, is now charged with production, possession, and receipt of child pornography. He was arrested in November and remains in custody. Streeter is accused of using social media to lure boys to his home and his tugboat, drugging them and sexually abusing them. The FBI believes there may be a number of victims and has set up an email address for victims or anyone with information on the case. It's DetroitShipTips@fbi.gov. You can also call them.
Ford and McDonald's are teaming up to try to reduce waste and boost fuel efficiency, and in an unusual way, this is all about coffee beans. McDonald's is left with piles of coffee bean husks after the brewing process, and they end up in the trash. Well, now Ford is saying we'll take those, and that's because they can be used to make interior car parts. In fact, lighter parts than the ones they replace, and that means more fuel-efficient cars. First up will be headlamp housings like the one that you see here. They'll begin showing up in Lincoln Continentals by the end of the year from McDonald's coffee bean husks.
Who would have ever thought?
Bizarre.
As long as they don't start using banana peels for something, or I don't.
Banana in the tailpipe? Or from Back to the Future.
There
Remember when they used banana peels to power it?
Detroit police are saying, check out our new digs. Hear from the chief about why one precinct's renovation project is so very important.
Plus, a story making big headlines today. Research linking some types of hair dye to a higher risk of breast cancer. Dr. Frank B. George here with What You Need to Know next.
What happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Now, hear from the people who knew him. A story about power and control. Hoffa, tonight at 10 on Local 4.